Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Rex and I have a game of Sonic Generations. So what you have here, it's the planet Wisp, as taken from the Sonic games called, I believe it was Sonic Colors. The game was ported over obviously, and it actually looks pretty cool. And it's a beautiful stage, and I thought I was gonna show it to you guys while I talk about something different, which is a process that has become a staple in my channel. I usually just talk about something extremely different than whatever you guys are watching. But as you can see from the title, I'll be talking a little bit about this world being the best of all possible worlds. And as I mentioned in my latest video, where I talked about finding yourself, I mentioned that I wanted to get a little bit into rationalism, and well, this is it. And the theme for rationalism that I wanted to discuss is this world being the best one there is. Now it goes a little bit deeper than that. The theory goes on to say that everything happens for a reason, and that is pretty much a crucial part of this branch of metaphysics, where these guys argue that everything that happens is for the best. That if it would have happened in any other possible way, then the world wouldn't be as good as it is. So if, for example, if the reason why it rains a lot in Seattle is because if it didn't, if it wasn't that way, then the world as we know it wouldn't exist. So the guy that I'm going to be talking about is called Leibniz, if you guys are interested in hearing more about him. But he says that for everything that happens in the world, let's say that if there's an earthquake, the reasons why that earthquake happened, let's call them reason A, B, and C. Those are the triggers for the earthquake to happen. That those triggers, they were always meant to happen, because if it didn't, then the world wouldn't be as good as it is. And then those triggers had different triggers of themselves, which you can call them E, F, and G. And those triggers that had their own triggers, and each of and every single one of them had a purpose, that they happened for a reason, and that reason was to make the world a better place. So everything that happens bad in the world, the hunger, the wars, the whatever, everything is there because otherwise the world would be more evil, if you want to put it that way. Now the way that he rationalized his theory into the world being the best possible of all worlds, he had this 4-point I guess work where he goes, point 1, there would be no world at all if God had not chosen to create the world, right? If God is the almighty superpower that existed before everything else existed, then he must have created the world. His second point was the principle of sufficient reason, which says that when there is more than one alternative, there must be an explanation to why those alternatives happen. So everything that happens must have a reason. The third one would be, in the case of God's choosing a particular world to create, the explanation must necessarily be found in the attributes of God himself, since there was nothing else around at the time. So for him to create the world, he must have created the world as a reflection of something else. You cannot just create something that looks completely different if you've never seen it before. If you're creating it, it must you must make it looking alike to something that you already know. God, he explains how God, when he created the world, he must have done it looking at himself, looking at how he is, how he works, and then creating the universe kind of like him. And well, then his fourth point says that if he's perfect, if God is perfect, then the world must be perfect, because God, being all powerful and morally perfect, could have only created a perfect world. Being that he's perfect, he cannot create something that is imperfect. And I want to mention a book that's pretty famous, and I don't know if you guys have read it. It's called Candide or Candide, however you pronounce it. I believe it's Candide. It's from Voltaire's or Voltaire, however you freaking spell those names. Bad at pronouncing names, but it's a really good book, and he kind of like made a mockery out of Leibniz. Not really a mockery as much as he the characters in the book are a representation of the teachings of Leibniz, and I found that interesting in terms of that the girl, right, Candide, she experiences earthquakes and tortures and war and people hungering, and she's still optimistic, right? She still thinks oh, this is the best possible of all worlds. And at one instance in the book, this guy, the anaptist called Jax, he's actually drowning in the river, and as she's about to save this guy drowning in the river, his mentor, which is supposed to be Leibniz, he grabs her and tells, no, you can't save her. The river was made specifically for the purpose for him to drown in there, as the world wanted it. So it's just a nice book. You guys should definitely read. That shows a little bit about more how rationality affects these characters, and how Voltaire's made them resemble it. And I mainly wanted to talk a little bit about rationalism and Leibniz, just because I kind of agree in the idea that at least if it doesn't make sense, then it's probably not true, right? I do believe that everything must have a reason, in terms of everything must have a purpose, as well as the main focus of your intelligence must come from reasoning, instead of having a hunch or whatever, your senses, like the empirists say. So as a last quote, before I leave this subject, the optimists say the glass is half full. The pessimists say the glass is half empty. But the rationalists say this glass is twice as big as it needs to be. So I thought it was pretty funny. But thank you so much, guys, for watching my video, for hearing me talk Mamba Jumbo. I love talking Mamba Jumbo, and I love saying the word Mamba Jumbo. It's kind of funny. But hope you guys liked the video and the commentary. Have a nice day, guys. Peace, love, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye bye.